Hello, man. Welcome to this interview. Thank you for your time. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Okay, so my name is Onyekachi, and I'm from Nigeria. I recently graduated from Nazarbayevuniversity, where I studied mechanical and aerospace engineering. And currently, I'm working as a researcher with my professor here at the Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering.
Can you tell us what does your name mean?
Okay, it's interesting. So my name, Onyekachi, it means there is no one greater than God. So it's a phrase which asks the question, who is greater than God? And of course, it's a rhetoric question, which means no one. And then Okorie, it's a popular name in Igbo land. I'm from the Igbo tribe in Nigeria. It means a man born on an Orie day, so Okorie.
All right. So nowadays, today especially, outside is more than -30.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that weather?
Oh, I mean, it's really difficult because, in Nigeria, we have an average room temperature all year round. And here you come in to experience sub-zero temperature up to -30. It's really difficult. But since I've been here for about 3 years, so I've been able to adapt to some extent to it.
Okay, let's talk about how did you come to Kazakhstan and Astana? Can you tell us about this experience?
Yeah, so coming to Kazakhstan, of course, has been one of the most interesting journeys of my life. I came to Kazakhstan through Nazarbayevuniversity when I got an advert on Facebook about the university, and it was really interesting for me because I got to see my department where I finished from, and it was really amazing. It was really interesting and beautiful. I saw the quality of research that's ongoing in the department. So I was really fascinated by that, and I got attracted to the university. So when I applied, and I was accepted into the program, and of course that brought me to Kazakhstan. And since then, it's been an interesting journey. Okay.
You said you spent here 3 years.
Yes.
And we know that the program lasts for 2 years.
Yes.
What did you do one extra year?
Okay, so after my first year in the program, I was a bit exhausted mentally, psychologically, and even physically. So due to certain constraints, so I applied for an academic leave, which was granted by the university. So I was allowed to go on leave for 1 year so that I could recover and then return to class. So I spent that 1 year pursuing my hobby, which is teaching. It is something that I love so much. I'm so passionate about teaching English as a second language. So I went into teaching for that 1 year in Almaty.
So let's talk about this experience. Now you are a foreigner who can compare life both in Astana and Almaty.
Yeah.
Please tell us about this experience.
Oh, so overall, I've spent 2 years in Astana and 1 year in Almaty. In between, I've also visited Almaty a couple of times after living there for 1 year. To be honest, I strongly believe that life in Almaty is a bit more interesting than in Astana, based on the fact that the way I see it is that people in Almaty tend to be more open-minded than those in Astana. Again, people from Almaty tend to be a bit livelier than Astana. People in Astana a bit more cold. I mean, yes, they tend to be colder, they tend to be restricted and not really as open-minded as those that I've met in Almaty. Speaking from my personal experience.
Yes. Do you have any ideas why this is happening?
It is often joked that since Astana is colder, so it tends to affect the people's emotions as well. But I believe that it is more about Astana. Astana, it tends to be more professional, more business oriented, and whereas Almaty tend to be more relaxing, where you can just relax and live normal life. So people in Astana tend to be more focused on work, home, and yeah, sometimes leisure. Of course, my time in Almaty has been one of my best moments in life for a lot of reasons. Okay, again, comparing Almaty and Astana, for me, I prefer Almaty because there are lots more interesting places to visit in Almaty. Like I said, the people are more outgoing, more open-minded, and you have lots of friends, a lot of people to hang out with. But Astana is not really the same.
especially in winter.
Yes, yes.
Okay, talking about the house, do you live on campus or outside?
So when I was a student, I lived on campus. I actually lived in this particular block when I was a student. But since I graduated in June, I live off campus right now.
And what's your experience about renting out an apartment?
It's been okay, although sometimes it tends to be a bit difficult for foreigners to get apartments to live in, partly because some landlords are not really open enough to let their apartments to foreigners. Sometimes you get to also, if you're lucky enough, you get to meet people who actually want only foreigners. Yeah, it's interesting because have
Did it happen to you?
Yes, of course.
That they want only foreigners?
Yes. For example, where I live currently, before I got that place, I made a call across to different landlords, and when I used the Krisha app, and some of them said they needed only locals. But on the other hand, when I met this particular, my landlady, current landlady, she said she needed only foreigners. So it was interesting for me, actually, and we were able to, flow. It was interesting because currently she lives in Germany, and I have basic knowledge of German language, and she also speaks German, and of course she's Kazakh. She speaks Kazakh and Russian and English. So during our conversation, so we switched from one language to the other. So it was really an interesting experience. So she said that would be the best thing to give me the apartment to live in.
Okay, can you talk more about your apartment? Is it 1-bedroom apartment or 2-bedroom apartment? How much do you pay per month?
Yeah, so in the meantime, so because I live all by myself, so I just live in one room apartment, which is comfortable for me in the meantime, because I haven't had any need to get a bigger one. So with the utility, I pay about 160,000 tenge. Actually, it should have been more than that, but like I said, because of the rapport I had with her, so she was able to lower the price a bit.
All right, Onyekachi, can you compare the prices for accommodation here and back home in Nigeria?
Oh, so
for the same apartment, how much would you pay there?
So if I am, interestingly, the same apartment of the same size, of the same quality, the amount that I pay here per month would be able to, in certain cities, would be able to give me the same apartment for 1 year.
1 year in Nigeria?
Yes.
So it's like 12 times more expensive here?
More expensive, yes.
Right.
Yeah, for example, a friend of mine who lives in similar apartments in Lagos, Nigeria, she pays basically a little above what I pay per month for 1 year, and it's the standard, the same quality.
Is there anything in common between Kazakhstan and Nigeria?
Yes. So one of the commonest things we have seen is the family setting. So in Kazakhstan, you practice extended family, and that's something that I love so much about Kazakhstan. So where you could see even up to great grandparents still have the connection with their family, and also relatives all are carried along in everything you do. It's seen in your celebrations, in birthdays, in weddings, in toy, and all that. So it is something that I find quite interesting, because in Nigeria also we practice extended family, where members of the family, both extended, are together, doing everything in common. So it is something very good. Again, still in the family, your value system for the family where younger generations are taught to respect the older generations and all that is the same in Nigeria as well. Even in terms of your marriage processes, they're also similar to what we have in Nigeria, where you have to the groom has to meet the parents of the bride to be, and they perform certain rites for the family to be, and then from there, if they want to, they could proceed to maybe other aspects of marriage, like what we refer to as the white wedding. So, but the traditional wedding is the same like what you have in Kazakhstan.
Did you have any chance to attend any tours in Kazakhstan?
Unfortunately, I haven't been able to attend yet, but I've actually seen how it's done. I've watched it on videos from my friends, and they've also told me a lot about the how it works in Kazakhstan. So, but I think it's much similar to what we have in Nigeria as well.
Can you talk more about Nigeria? What is it made of?
Okay.
Maybe you can compare it to something familiar to us.
Okay.
And how many nationalities there? What languages are spoken there?
Okay. Yeah. So again, one other thing we have in common is that Kazakhstan is blessed with natural resources like oil and others. The same in Nigeria. Nigeria is blessed with natural resources, oil and gas, and mineral elements and all that. So, of course, as you may well know, Nigeria is the 6th largest oil producer in the world. So that's also a similarity that we share with Kazakhstan. And so Nigeria in general is the 7th most popular country in the world, in terms of population, because Nigeria is well over 200 million people. And Nigeria actually could be described as multi-ethnic or multinational joined together. Of course, Nigeria was officially formed in 1914 by Lord Lugard of Great Britain. So prior to that time, we had indigenous nations, like you have the Biafran nation, you have the Arewa Republic, and you have the Oduduwa Republic as well. I am actually of the Biafran extract of Nigeria, which is predominant in the southeastern part of Nigeria. Also, in terms of language, Nigeria has well over 500 languages spoken. And
what are the most popular languages there?
So in Nigeria is divided into 3 main linguistic groups. We have the Igbo, which is predominant in the southeastern part of Nigeria and part of the southern part of Nigeria. And we have the Yoruba, which is predominant in the southwestern part of Nigeria. And of course, the Hausa, which is predominant in the northern part of Nigeria. So they are the main 3 regions of Nigeria, and also 3 main languages.
Are you able to speak all of them?
Okay, Igbo is jointly my first language. I mean, jointly with English, so I speak Igbo 100%. I have a bit knowledge of, I have an elementary knowledge of Yoruba. I understand actually to a greater extent, but I do not speak so well. In terms of Hausa, I just knew some phrases. Okay. There are also other languages in Nigeria that are like Efik and Tiv and all that. So I'm also able to speak a little bit of these languages.
Okay, can you say a few words in Igbo, a few sentences?
Okay, so Kedu Kimere. Kedu Kimere, it means how are you? But you can say for short, Kedu.
Kedu.
Yes. So when someone says Kedu or Kedu Kimere, your response should be Odima. Odima means fine. Okay. And Ahagi Bogini.
Ahagi Bogini.
Yes, Ahagi Bogini.
Ahagi
or
Bogini.
You can say Gini Bahagi.
Gini Bahagi.
Yes, it means what's your name? And you can say Aham Bo Onyekachi.
Aham Bo Sultan.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yes, Aham Bo Sultan. Yes, so another way you could also see Nigeria is as you had in the former Soviet Union, where you had different nationalities, like you have Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and all that together in the same union called the former Soviet Union. The same it is in Nigeria, where you have different nationalities and ethnicities who are distinct in virtually everything. They are distinct in terms of culture, in terms of language, even in terms of religious beliefs. But like I said, in 1914, they were actually brought together by what is popularly known as the amalgamation of the Southern and Northern Protectorate by Lord Lugard. So since then, that's when the phrase Nigeria, or I would say the word Nigeria, came to be formed. So sometimes that distinctness still plays major roles in certain areas. But over the years, we've tried to live as one. We've tried to understand each other, live in unity and peace. Although sometimes due to political games and all that, political tussles, it also tend to affect the unity of the nation Nigeria.
Okay, talking about religion, probably. What is the main religion in Nigeria?
So Nigeria could be broadly categorized into a secular state. So it means that secular state means that where you're free to practice your religion, whichever of your choice. But predominantly we have Christianity in the southern part of Nigeria, and in the northern part you have Islam as the predominant religion. We also have, traditional worshippers as well, but not really in large numbers.
Nigeria is such a huge country in terms of population.
Yeah.
There must be some famous Nigerians out there. Can you give some of the names?
Oh, of course, there are many Nigerians all over the world who are dominant on the world stage. There are too many to mention, but just a few. We know the current World Trade Organization. Of course, the president, or the chairman, as you may choose to call, is a Nigerian in the name of Okonjo-Iweala, which is Nigerian. And you also know, when it comes to Nobel laureates, you know about a man called Wole Soyinka. Yes, he's the first African to win the Nobel laureate. We also have people in different areas, such as Chima Amanda, Chinua Achebe. These are famous writers whose literal work has really, touched every length and breadth of the world. Yeah. So in terms of football, we have the likes of JJ Okocha, Nwankwo Kanu, who did excellently in their time, and currently we have the likes of Victor Moses and Mikel Obi, Kelechi Iheanacho, and Osimhen, who just won the Italian the best player in the Italian league. He's Nigerian, of course, and so many others who are doing well in their respective fields. And even here in Kazakhstan, the acting president of NU, of course, Ade Shida Ilesomi, is Nigerian, as you may have known before now. So all over the world, Nigerians are making waves in medicine, in science and technology, in business, and in other areas. You also know about the richest black man in the world, Aliko Dangote. Of course, he's Nigerian, and so many others.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, one of the best English language teacher in Kazakhstan, Mr. Onyekachi Okore.
Onyekachi, what is about your life here? Are there any challenges for you here, or you find it not so difficult to accommodate?
Okay, so due to my adventurous nature and also my open-mindedness, I haven't really found any difficulty apart from the issue of the weather, yes, which is really cold. Okay. But other than that, I don't have any problem. That's because I have skills which enable me to easily assimilate into any culture, into any environment. So it hasn't really been difficult for me as it has been for most other people that I came with, or those who came after me. Actually, they've sometimes find it difficult to, associate with the locals and to interact easily. But now I do that effortlessly without any challenge.
Did you manage to learn local languages?
Yes. So far I've been able to pick up some skills in Russian as well as in Kazakh, but I know more of Russian. I understand about 70% or more, though my speaking isn't as good yet. Also in Kazakh, I've also been able to pick up quite a few phrases which I'm able to use to navigate through my daily activities, especially Kazakh numbers for business transactions. I think I could say I know 100% Kazakh numbers, and
in taxi especially, I guess.
Yes.
Let's check your knowledge.
Okay.
In Kazakh and Russian, a few sentences probably.
Okay.
Салем.
Салем.
Қалың қалай?
Мен жақсымын.
Сенің атың кім?
Менің атым Onyekachi.
Сен қайдан келдің?
Нигерияданмын.
Жақсы.
Рахмет.
Сенің руың кім?
Мен Igbo.
Wow.
Igbo blessing me?
Oh. Man, you prepared for the interview. Русский?
О, давайте.
Такси. Let's pretend I'm a taxi driver.
Давайте.
Куда, брат? Куда едешь?
Nazarbayevuniversity.
Сколько?
1000.
1,5.
1000.
Ладно, 1000, поехали.
Хорошо.
Как
тебя зовут?
Меня зовут Батырбек.
Батырбек. Хорошо, это хорошее имя.
Man, you see, you have great communication skills. That's fantastic. Let's go back to Nigerian people.
Okay.
And can you say who is an average Nigerian people? What does it look like? What kind of person he or she is?
Okay.
So, and maybe compared to Kazakh people.
So generally, an average Nigerian is one that can be described as determined, focused, and resilient. So he's resilient because despite what he or she has been through, despite the negative impressions created about him, despite the, I would say, not so favorable backgrounds, yet he still strives to get better and better every day. He still strives to achieve that purpose or that goal which he has created for himself. So that's why when you go to different parts of the world, for example, in the US and other places, there was a report I read whereby it was noted that when you get to the US, in terms of the immigrant community, the most educated community are the Nigerians. The same applies to other parts of the world. So that's because the average Nigerian is goal-oriented and is determined and focused to, in terms of achieving those goals. Unlike the negative image being painted about Nigeria on the world stage, Nigeria is one of the best places you can be. They're very welcoming, very hospitable. That's one, again, another similarity we have with Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is also hospitable, especially to foreigners. The same applies to Nigeria as well. So anytime, any day you're welcome to come to Nigeria, you feel free as though it's your home. And so the Nigerian people are loving, actually. They are loving, they are hospitable, they are very friendly. They will do everything to make sure that you as a guest is well cared for.
Do you have local friends here in Astana?
Yes, my best friend, Temilan, we met when I arrived here 3 years ago. I've also met other friends as well in Almaty and here in Astana. And I can say for sure that the same level of hospitality which I have back home, is also what I'm seeing here, and it's good.
Okay, let's talk about average family. How many children does it have?
So the number of children in a family, it varies according to the different regions. When you come to the southeastern part of Nigeria, on average, you can have about 4 to 5 children on average. And in the north, it tends to be more. And in the western part of Nigeria, it's still the same range, 4 to 5 children. So that's it basically.
And talking about your family in general,
so
how many people
in my
out there
family,
and children?
Yeah, my family is really large. My family we are 7 in my family, 7 children in my family.
And you are the eldest, the youngest?
No, I'm the fifth.
The fifth one.
Yeah.
And what about your other siblings? Where are they right now?
Oh, they're good. They're actually in Nigeria. So an average Nigerian is entrepreneurial in nature. So they have their own businesses and their own maybe skills which make them self-employed, because Nigerians are not really so dependent on the government when it comes to job. So only a few people within the population are interested in in government jobs. So people tend to create jobs for themselves because Nigerians are really technical. They are really skilled in many things, in artisan, in fashion and designing, in different areas. So Nigerians are really well talented. So they tend to be more self-employed.
Onyekachi, you come from Nigeria, and it's so far from Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
So how easy or difficult is it for you to travel back home in Kazakhstan?
Okay, so there is no, given the distance, there is not really direct flight from Kazakhstan to Nigeria. So majority of the flights, you either go through Cairo, Egypt, or through Turkey, or through Qatar. But in the meantime, Qatar and Turkey they've been the most frequently used routes. For some time, Egypt hasn't really been as popular. So to get to Kazakhstan, you have to first of all get to Turkey and Istanbul, from Istanbul to here, or to Qatar, from Qatar to Astana. So when it comes to the visa process, it's really a bit complex now. And that's one of the areas we hope that in the near future that there will be some level of bilateral relationship between Nigeria and Kazakhstan, such that the visa constraint would be a bit more simplified. Because for now, to get a visa to Kazakhstan, one has to go to Egypt first. And then from Egypt, you can process your visa and come here. Initially, it was a bit easier because you have to get to Ethiopia. I got mine in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, when I got here 3 years ago. But now going to Ethiopia has been removed from as the option. So you have to go to Egypt, where you process your visa. And getting to Egypt is also a bit has its own visa hurdles and constraints. So it tends to complicate the process of coming to Kazakhstan.
So let me wrap up this. You mean if you need a visa to Kazakhstan, first you go to Egypt?
Yes.
But to go to Egypt, you also need a visa?
Yes, exactly.
How? So in a double visa?
Yes, exactly.
Man, it's kind of complicated.
Yes, it's complicated. So we hope that in the near future that there will be some sort of diplomatic relations between Kazakhstan and Nigeria, because right now the Nigerian community in Kazakhstan is actually growing. It's growing every day. And
how big is that, by the way, Nigerian community in Kazakhstan?
I may not be able to give an exact figure, but if you take statistics of foreign teachers in Kazakhstan, for example, I'm sure that up to 60% or more are Nigerians.
Okay.
Yes.
So we talk a lot about Nigeria, and I would like to discuss the topic of tourism.
Okay.
Because for us, for instance, Africa is still kind of exotic place to visit.
Sure.
We know about, for example, Tanzania. We know about safari things. Can you share about Nigerian touristic spots?
Oh, one of the things that would amaze you is how beautiful the nature of Nigeria is. By the way, Nigeria is a green country. Nigeria is a green country. And so Nigeria has lots of beautiful places you can visit and relax with your family, with your friends, and have a good time. We have popular places such as Obudu Cattle Ranch, we have Tinapa, we have waterfalls, we have even we have game reserves, we have a lot of places that you can actually, that will be of interest to you. And that's one of the features you don't get to see on the internet more, because people tend to portray Nigeria more on the negative aspect without recourse to these very positive aspects. So I would encourage you to visit Nigeria in one of your vacations, and you will see for yourself that Nigeria is a place to be in for vacation or for the other leisure activities.
All right, Onyekachi, thank you for your time. That was a really interesting and engaging conversation. So, as a final words, what can you say to locals and foreigners?
Okay, so first of all, to the foreigners, especially those who might be considering relocating to Kazakhstan, either for studies or for business or for even vacation, I would encourage you to come along, and you can be rest assured that you're going to be well received by the locals, because as far as I know, Kazakhstan and Kazakh people, they are one of the most hospitable people on earth. This place, it's quite peaceful and quite safe. So I would encourage you to come. By the way, since coming here, I've invited more than 20 people, and I'm more than 10 people are here already. And for everyone who has come, they've always, thanked me for recommending the place for them. So feel free to come and relax. You can even stay here permanently if you want to. Okay, and then for the Kazakhs, I want to encourage you to feel free to associate with Nigerians and even other Africans you meet either on campus or on the street, everywhere. Africans are peace-loving people. They are wonderful people and very amazing, also quite creative and hardworking, and not minding the negative pictures you might see on the internet about Africa and about Nigeria in particular. Some of those are not really as they are. So I would encourage you to go out of your way to experience, these people with yourself, and see that they are one of the best people you can actually deal with. And to all my Kazakh friends, Termilan, Kazimirat, and many other wonderful people that I've met in Kazakhstan, and a lot more that I'm going to meet, and all my students, I want to say, Mien Kazakhstan Jasik Remen.